Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Jay Cohn. The cost of water here in Billings is going up.
A gallon of water in Billings currently costs residents 1/3 of a penny. And even after foregoing a rate increase last year, many were on hand tonight to speak against this price hike.
Q2's Dustin Kleeman keeping tabs on the council's meeting and discussion tonight about Earth's most precious resource. Dustin.
Good evening, Jay and Jeanelle. There are a number of reasons for the rate increases. Inflation, an aging system, infrastructure needs, and increasing regulations are all factors. The average home will increase the average bill by 31 cents to $76.44. Average home in Billings uses 9,700 gallons of water, meaning most residents remain in the Tier 1 of its tier system of charged rates. During the summer months, only 49% of residents stay within that Tier 1, meaning more water their yard. Will generate approximately $1 million higher revenues and $875,000 more in wastewater revenues during the next fiscal year. The current water rate in Billings, even with the increase, is still less than Butte, Bozeman, Helena, and Missoula, but still more than Great Falls and Kalispell. Funds will help build a reservoir facility on the west end, but keep in mind, another rate increase may be on tap for next year. Jay?
All right, thanks, Dustin. The names of 3 Billings police officers disciplined for sexual encounters on the job will remain private for at least another 48 hours. That's the decision today from Yellowstone County District Court Judge Donald Harris. In that ruling, Harris decides the officers' names should be released, but is allowing lawyers for the officers time to put together an appeal to the Montana Supreme Court. This case centers on the officers' right to privacy versus the public's right to know, with Q2 and the Billings Gazette asking the court to release the names. 2 of the officers were disciplined after admitting to having sex while on duty with a police department clerk. A 3rd officer was off duty but had sex with the same clerk on city property.
I do not think that the public is going to recognize an expectation in privacy if police officers decide to have sex at City Hall or in and around a police vehicle while on duty. That is not something they ought to expect to be kept private. I don't believe the law would recognize that as a legitimate interest.
Judge Harris went on to say that police officers are given the power to infringe on our basic liberties, but with that power, he says, comes scrutiny. And once the officer's appeal is filed, Judge Harris will then decide whether his 48-hour stay will remain in effect.
A 21-year-old Billings man stands accused of raping a teenage girl he met online, while he also faces charges for allegedly using methamphetamine around his toddler. Emilio Walks charged today on 1 count of sexual intercourse without consent. The prosecutors say Walks met up with a 13-year-old girl at the Lazy KT Motel in downtown Billings. Despite her saying no, Walks allegedly raped the girl, who later went to the hospital for a sexual assault exam. Court documents also state that Walks and the mother of his child used methamphetamine around their 3-year-old and left loaded syringes around the house. Walks is being held on $80,000 bond. Floodwaters in and around Missoula receded today, but that won't last long.
That brief glimpse of hope gone now, as experts warn the water could again rise rapidly and unexpectedly at any moment. Today, the authorities allowed some Missoula area residents back into their homes for at least a short period of time. Over the weekend, the Clark Fork River crested at its 2nd highest level in Missoula history,
leaving many areas extremely dangerous due to downed power lines, toxic water, swift currents, and debris in the water.
So we switch our attention now to our local weather scene. Bob McGuire here with us tonight with some details on how our local rivers here are doing, Bob.
Yeah, well, like the other parts of the state, they have receded a little bit, so some good news to report tonight. Let me show you where the rivers are locally here. We start in Billings. The Yellowstone is at 9.7 feet. Flood stage is 13.5, so really not a problem there. Yellowstone at Livingston's at 7.1 feet. Flood stage there is a 9.5, and that's one we're kind of worried about. That's getting kind of high. The Shields River, that's also kind of high at 4.64. Flood stage is 5.5. The Clarks Fork at the Yellowstone at Belfry, that's 5.1 7. Flood stage is about 8 feet, and you'll notice the Stillwater at Absaroka, that's about 7 feet deep. By the way, the Muscle River, it has broken some of the berms they had over there in the fairgrounds, and it's kind of flooding in that area. I take a look at this. It also flooded the baseball park there at the fairgrounds on the Muscle River. So yeah, it's pretty deep there. But here in the Billings area, we seem to be doing okay for now. We'll have more in the forecast in a few more minutes.
All right. Thank you, Bob.
The U.S. Supreme Court rules come the end of this month. Some states could be betting on the NBA Finals.
The High Court today striking down a 26-year-old federal law that bars gambling on baseball, basketball, football, and other sports in most states. The American Gaming Association pleased with today's ruling that gives states the final say. So the question is, what does this really mean for Montana?
The administrator of the Montana Gambling Controlling Division, Angela Nunn, weighed in on that question today.
So there is not an immediate effect of the ruling on Montana. There would need to be a lot of regulatory structure that would need to be put in place, and I don't know whether there's a big market for that here in Montana. There's definitely a lot involved in regulating that type of activity. I have heard that there's interest in that in Montana, but it will depend on the legislature's appetite for that type of gambling here in Montana.
So for now, sports betting is not legal here in the state. That would require legislative change come next January 2019.
Well, today, the deadliest day of protests in years along the Gaza-Israeli border as Israeli forces killed more than 50 Palestinians. The violence today casting a shadow over the official move of the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. CBS News' Seth Doan has the latest for us.
Protesters scuffled with Israeli police outside the new U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem Monday, while inside, President Trump's daughter and senior advisor Ivanka Trump helped unveil the embassy's seal.
We welcome you officially and for the first time to the Embassy of the United States here in Jerusalem, the capital of Israel.
Her husband, Jared Kushner, who's in charge of developing a Middle East peace plan, defended the controversial embassy move.
Israel's a sovereign nation with the right to determine its own capital.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called it a glorious day.
We are in Jerusalem and we are here to stay.
It is a very symbolic move because Palestinians argue that it shows the U.S. siding with Israel in the discussion over this city, this contested city, which both parties claim.
Along the Gaza border, Palestinian protesters burned tires and threw rocks, while Israeli drones dropped tear gas. Officials in Gaza say Israeli forces killed more than 50 people. More than 2,400 people were wounded. Palestinian leaders condemned the violence and the U.S. Embassy move.
We witnessed today a ceremony of the Prime Minister of Israel and the administration of President Trump burying the peace process, burying the two-state solution.
The argument inside today's event was that the embassy move would promote peace. The images on the outside questioned how. Seth Doan, CBS News, Jerusalem.
The White House says the responsibility for the deaths today in Gaza rests squarely with Hamas, and they say they support Israel's right to defend itself.
First Lady Melania Trump is in the hospital tonight recovering from kidney surgery. Her office says she had been experiencing an issue with her kidney described as benign. The 48-year-old is expected to stay at the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in Washington for several days. President Donald Trump remained at the White House during Melania's surgery.
Still ahead on tonight's 10 o'clock news, whatever your reason is for taking in the Miles City Buck and Horse sale, well, this event promises something for everyone. In a moment, we'll take a look back in time.
And later tonight, the Man of Steel has a sidekick again. Tonight, America mourns the loss of Lois Lane.
And in sports, how long would it take to play every golf course in Montana? Well, this guy's about to find out. Scott shows us how and why.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.